Hello and the very warmest of welcomes to this CareersLab episode focusing on answering 3 of your awesome questions. This week focusing on how to narrow down options after university and how to find the right work experience for you. So let's dive straight into the first question, which comes in from Emilia, and she asks, what are the best ways to narrow down what you'd like to do after uni? Emilia, this is a great question, and I personally love the triangulation approach, moving between 3 different bits of information to find a path that's right for you. Now let's take a closer look at each of those 3, and let's start with data. Specifically data relating to what graduates from your discipline have gone on to do to get us thinking laterally. This database, which sits inside LinkedIn, brings together data on what UCL grads are doing right now. And you can filter by your degree like this, as well as dates, to make the numbers more manageable. And I recommend scrolling down and looking through maybe 10, maybe 20 profiles a day for 1 week, keeping a journal of what job titles you find yourself naturally spending more time looking at. The link, Emilia, is in the description box below. Try not to judge yourself or to think too quickly ahead to the next steps, Emilia. Just stay in that spirit of curiosity and note down what you find interesting. No more and no less. Next, Emilia, is people. Moving from that research phase to have conversations with people actually doing those roles you're interested in. The Bentham Connect website is how you can make this happen. Search under directory for the job titles you might be interested in and check for profiles that match, that have the willing to help banner on them. Message those people saying something along the lines of, "Hi, I love the sound of the work you do as a patent attorney at ABC Consultancy. It's a career I'd love to know more about and particularly your experience of it. Might you be able to spare 10 minutes for a Zoom chat whenever it suits you? Kind regards, Emilia." This happens every day, and you can ask questions that you're personally curious about to get closer to the truth about what it might mean to work there. The third point of that triangle, Emilia, is experience. So if you've moved from the data to the people stage and your interest in a sector is still fully intact, the next logical step is really to try it out, whether through shadowing or summer internships or work experience, because there really is no substitute for figuring out if it's right for you. So there you have it, Emilia. Not a quick method, but with the right amount of application, it's a surefire way of developing a really considered sense of what might be best for you and what might make you most happy with the choices that you do make. Thank you so much for this question, Emilia. I'd love to know how it goes if you want to keep me posted, and the very best of luck. Okay, it's time for question 2, and Hannah asks, what work experience to consider doing during end of academic year holidays? Hannah, it really depends on what you personally want out of work experience. It could be to bolster your CV, to earn cash, or to network with future graduate employers, or maybe a little bit of all of these things. And so without knowing your personal motivation, I'm going to answer your question in 2 slightly different ways. One, if you do have an idea of what you might like to do after university, and the other way, if you're not quite there yet. So Hannah, first up, if you do have some ideas around career options you might consider, then that's a really good place to start for work experience, because that way you can not only test whether it's right for you, but you also develop really good material for future applications for graduate schemes. Now Hannah, if you're not finding work experience in those sectors that interest you, and you've been reviewing aggregating websites like UCL Careers Vacancies page, and you've been submitting speculative applications and still no joy, then switch targets to develop your transferable or crossover skills. You can do this by finding, say, 3 job descriptions for roles you might eventually want to apply for. Make a tally of the skills they mention and look for current roles that develop those same skills. Now Hannah, if you're not quite at the stage where you know what career options might be of interest to you, viewing work experience as a way of experimenting and being curious is a really good way to go. You really don't need to have a grand plan. You could simply scan UCL Careers curated vacancies page, linked to in the description box below, and follow that curiosity, applying only for what feels exciting. This is a totally legitimate approach, Hannah, because trying something, indeed anything, is a really good way of figuring out what elements of it you like and what elements of it you don't like. It's a really important question you've sent in, Hannah, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I wish you the very best of luck. So now to our final question. It comes in from Clara, who asks, is it true UCL is only good for pursuing a career in research? Clara, you are a cheeky one, and I really, really love this question. So is UCL only good for a career in research? Absolutely, definitely no. UCL alumni have featured as Oscar nominees, Golden Globe and Gold Medal winners, headlined Glastonbury, and stood on the front line against COVID. UCL is great for establishing a platform from which to grow however you want. It's a safe harbour where you can explore and develop your understanding of how you might want to influence the world in ways that mean something to you and to find your tribe. And when it's time to move on, Clara, it's to a world of diverse opportunities and career options that might not even exist right now. So no, UCL is not just good for pursuing a career in research. But boy, do we have some amazing researchers. I really want to know what you think though. Do you think UCL is only good for careers in research? And that goes for all you lovely viewers too. Definitely comment down below. I'd love to know your thoughts. So that brings to a close this Q&A episode, and thank you so much for sending in your questions. Please send more in to careers.marketing@ucl.ac.uk if you want them featured in future episodes. And please know that if you're a UCL student, you have access to our full team of 60 waiting to answer your careers questions. Simply book an appointment via the link in the description box below. That's it from us for this week. I'll see you next time.